In this video, I'll show you how to set up Raspberry Pi 02W in an headless method, where you don't need any external peripherals like monitor, mouse and keyboard. You just need your laptop, SD card and SD card reader. Once the setup is done, I'll show how to find its IP address and how to SSH the Raspberry Pi 02W. Finally, I'll also demo a blinking LED project to get started. Hello everyone, welcome to IoT Frontier. My name is Hariharnath. Without further delay, let's get started. First of all, let's try to look into some of the big features that we have. So Raspberry Pi 02W is actually a tiny computer with a big punch. And this is very useful for low power projects and which also needs high computing, because it is a very compact in size, which is like 65 mm by 30 mm, and it is very perfect for projects with limited space. So it also consumes low power and the affordability is also very good. And if you see the features and capabilities, 1 GHz quad core ARM Cortex A53 CPU, which is a powerful CPU, and also has a good 512 MB RAM, and it has built-in Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, which is a very good advantage to communicate to the internet. And then we also have 40-pin GPIO so that you can connect various sensors and hardware accessories. And then it also has mini HDMI port, camera connector, micro USB, etc. So now that we have seen all the features, we'll try to do the setup. So first we need to know the prerequisites. So first, in the hardware prerequisites, we need Raspberry Pi 02W board, SD card. The minimum recommended is 8 GB and SD card reader. And if we see the software, so in the software we need Raspberry Pi Imager, Angry IP Scanner and PuTTY for doing the SSH. So first I'll do is Raspberry Pi Imager. So if you search for Raspberry Pi Imager, you will get first link. You can download this Imager and it's a simple installation. Once you have done that, so you can open the Raspberry Pi Imager. So this is the Raspberry Pi Imager, so by which we can boot our Raspberry Pi OS. So next thing is we need to insert our SD card into SD card reader, and SD card reader has to be connected to the USB of your laptop. So I have connected my USB. Now I'll try to select a device that I am going to boot. So this is Raspberry Pi 02W, and the OS, the recommended OS for this is OS Lite 32-bit. Because of its low RAM, we need to use this. But if you want a GUI, then you can go with the full OS, but it would be slower. But if you are only using for programming purpose, then this OS Lite 32-bit is better. And then storage, I can select that and click on next. So here you need to provide all the settings. For example, you need to give your host name, the username and password, you can set it. I have already set it previously. And what is the SSID, that internet that it has to connect, that SSID and password also you need to set. And then so what is the time locale that you have to set, and what are the services that you have to enable. For example, SSH you can enable now itself, and then you can select different options. Now click on save, click on yes, and then it will ask for erasing the old data. Then you can click yes. So it will take nearly 5 to 6 minutes. So in the meanwhile, I can also download Angry IP Scanner. So this is for searching the IP address that we get. So you can download. I have already downloaded. So, and then after this, you can also download PuTTY. You can search for PuTTY and then you can use the first one. And here you can install the version. If you are using x86 64-bit, you can use this. And now it is in the verification state. So we can see this is opened, and now we can see that it has been written the OS, and then you can remove the SD card. So you can click on continue and SD card can be removed now. Now is the step where you need to insert your SD card to your Pi 02W and then connect the USB so that it can power on. Now we can see the blinking of LED in the Pi 02W. So because we are not going to use any external peripherals like monitor, keyboard and mouse, we don't have to insert any USB devices. So we have to wait for 2 minutes, and after waiting for 2 minutes, because it has to boot, right? So after booting, we can open our putty. You need to enter the host name or IP address. So now what you can do is go to Angry IP Scanner and open it. So here you need to provide the range of your Wi-Fi. So for example, you can go back to command prompt. So in the command prompt, you can use ipconfig. So under the ipconfig, you can check the range of your Wi-Fi. So if you see the IP address, IPv4 address, you can see my range is 192.168.29.x, and then I can put from 0 to 255. So that is why I have used here, and then you can click on start. So when we do that, it will search all the 256 IPs, and then wherever you can see Raspberry Pi, you can see the host name as raspberrypi.local by default. So it will take 2 to 3 minutes to complete. Now we can see 6 hosts are alive in my network. I can just use ping, sort by ping, so that I can see all the ping responses. So in the host name, we can see raspberrypi.local is used for 29.200. So I can use both the IP address or the host name. For example, if you don't have an option to install Angry IP Scanner, then you don't have to search for IP address. You can directly use raspberrypi.local as a host name. So I'll show both ways. So here first I'll try to use 192.168.29.200 and then click on open. So you can see the putty security alert to accept the certificate, and then click on accept. So what is the username and password that you have given, that has to be entered. Now I can see the version. So I'm using Raspbian and 12 bookworm, and I can also use raspi config. So we need to use sudo space raspi config to check which version of hardware that we are using and the RAM, and remaining details you can see here. Now I'll also show you how to use the host name to connect. So you can click on new session, and then you can use raspberrypi.local. Click on open. That will also again ask me to accept. So this is also working. Now if you wish to connect your Raspberry Pi 0 2W remotely from anywhere in the world and work from your remote area with this Raspberry Pi, then you can use this official Raspberry Pi Connect module that will help you achieve that. So for example, you are in the office and your Raspberry Pi is in your home. You have to connect it and keep it on, and then this Raspberry Pi Connect will be able to help you. So for that, you need to go to interface settings and turn on this Raspberry Pi Connect. And I have done a detailed video on this, and you can watch it from the top right corner or from the description. Now I am not going to complete this. So next is we need to blink an LED. So to do the blinking of LED, we need to first connect our hardware in such a way that LED is connected, and also we use a resistor so that we don't send full current, and we can limit the current to the LED. So this is the circuit diagram. You can see the longer leg is connected to GPIO4 and shorter leg connected to ground. It depends on the LED that you have. So if you have a different LED, then you can reverse the connections, and in between you can put your resistor. So you need to orient your Raspberry Pi 0 2W to see this GPIO connections exactly, and then connect them. Once you have connected them, you need to write a code. So for that, you need to open your putty again. So I'll try to do the nano blink.py. So this will open a nano editor so that you can type your Python code, and here you need to paste your program. So this is the program that I have pasted. So first is GPIO that we are importing, and then time and for sleep importing. and then pin LED that we have seen previously is 4. And we also need to mention the mode that we are using. BCM is the GPIO mode of the chip that we are using, and then set up a pin LED as output, and the main code we have written in the while loop, so that you can see GPIO.output, we are putting this pin LED as high so that LED will be on, and then we are making it sleep for 1 second, and after that we are making this GPIO.low, which means the LED will be switch off, and we can print that as well. So for closing this, use Ctrl X and save it by clicking Y and then enter. So now this is saved. To run this, you need to use Python blink.py, so that LED on and off. So you can see for every 1 second LED is blinking on and off. This is how you can use your basic programming with this Raspberry Pi 02W. And that's it for today's video. If you found this video informative, please type helpful in the comment section below and smash that like button. Check out my other videos on how to send a simple message to Azure IoT Hub using Raspberry Pi from the end screen. Your support means a lot to us and helps us keep creating more content like this. So please subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in another interesting video.